Right. I mean, listen.
Catching it live.
Watching it live, right. I've been doing that. Like the Jets have theirs going on right now, and Le'Veon Bell had -4 yards on his first carry behind that offensive line.
Right. But the defense is looking good there, Dan.
Yes, the defense. Very good day for the defense. Defense is stellar.
This is a seismic shift, though, Cody. You've been a longtime football writer, and almost the entire time you've been a football writer, the Cleveland Browns have been a laughingstock, never more so than the last 10 years, and it keeps getting worse. And I can't believe that I am witnessing a day when Mike Ryan, a Browns fan because his abuelita bought some paper plates for $1 at the dollar store when he was a child, that Mike Ryan is so obsessed with all things Browns that he's live streaming quarterback press conferences in June. What are you pointing at? What are you pointing at?
No, I'm giving the press conference hearts.
Oh, man, he's got a quarterback. I mean,
we were here with Johnny Football also, though. Like, they haven't won anything yet.
No, they won 7 games last year, which is
almost 500.
The third best season since they returned to the NFL. So this is not a Johnny Manziel. This is a guy that's proven he's got the goods, dude. In fact, he set the all-time rookie passing touchdown record, breaking that record of one Peyton Manning. I'm not sure if you heard of him. And he did this by playing 2.5 fewer games.
They give away Super Bowl trophies for that stat? Or
Will soon.
Let Mike enjoy this, man.
Don't you feel like these two, though, could have an argument over whose team has had the most talked about offseason? Because I feel like the Jets are right there.
Oh, no, I think the Browns are the most.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Really?
Get out of it.
Oh, wait a minute. No, the
that.
Jets for the wrong reasons, though. The Browns for the right one.
Well, the Jets for some of the right reasons.
No, I mean,
Well, no, the Jets started off for the right reasons, and it is ending up for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
But wait a minute. Just Le'Veon Bell? Is that it? That's what you're saying? That you're not giving that to any other person?
Well, no, there was a crazy-eye press conference.
Yeah, bug-eyed gaze.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is in terms of positive things being said about the Jets, it's one, correct? It's Le'Veon Bell.
Well, a lot of people liked the draft pick and said he was the best player in that draft. Not a quarterback, the defensive tackle from Alabama.
It was a great draft
Mosley,
pick.
the linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of people liked.
Excellent draft pick. Ask me who I got with mine.
Jamison Crowder. I know you got Odell Beckham Jr.
Jamison Crowder.
And listen,
I got Odell Beckham Jr. with
our
my
best
pick.
receiver last year was Quincy Enunwa. I'll take Jamison Crowder.
I got Olivier Vernon. I just laughed off Gerald McCoy signing with Carolina because I didn't think Ogunjobi needed a backup.
That defensive line is going to be really good.
Here I am saying let Mike enjoy this, and you're coming at me like this? I mean, really? I'm the only one here supporting you because I know how lousy it's been for you for decades.
Week 2, someone's season's going to come to a crashing halt on Monday Night Football when the Cleveland Browns, hopefully 1-0, travel to MetLife Stadium with Adam Gase's career on the line.
Wow.
After a
Really?
game.
How about that? How?
They play every year. I mean, first 4 weeks.
Hold on a second, though. The idea that the second Monday night game is Browns-Jets.
I mean, seriously.
Now, we're home with the Bills week 1, so figure we'll be 1-0. So this is for all the marbles. I mean,
Is this the first time in the history of the Browns and Jets that Browns and Jets on Monday night is interesting?
Well, they had the Thursday nighter last year, and not Monday nighter, but it was the highest rated Thursday night game of the season up until a certain point. It was fantastic.
right. But you notice what they did there? They put it week 2 because in the event, if they put it week 10, it might not be interesting week 10. But week 2, it has to be interesting.
All the Browns primetime games are front-loaded.
I am interested in an outsider's perspective, though, because we've been feasting on Browns coverage. It's been all over First Take all the time. Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith won't shut up about it. Mike Ryan is hyperventilating. They're the most talked about team in the offseason, and Greg Cody's entire career, I feel like, except maybe Ernest Biner. Well, even that season ended in laughter at their expense. The Cleveland Browns, as a longtime football writer, are going to be what this season?
They're going to tie. The second game of the season on Monday Night Football will be a tie game. And
This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We live in a racist country.
Your next haircut now has a shortcut. Introducing the Sport Clips Haircuts app. That's right. Now the cut you want is just a tap away. Just download the app, check in at your neighborhood Sport Clips, and choose your Guy Smart stylist, and you're done. We'll text you when your stylist is almost ready. Then head to Sport Clips for a championship haircut experience. It's home field advantage for your hair. No appointment needed. Just download the Sport Clips app and check in. And don't forget a beard trim. Sport Clips. You choose the cut, we cut the weight.
Stugatz here. Finding a new job is a lot of work. What if you had your own personal recruiter to help you find a better job? Now ZipRecruiter's technology could do that for you. Just download the ZipRecruiter app, let it know what kind of jobs you're interested in, and it puts your profile in front of employers. If an employer likes your profile, ZipRecruiter lets you know. So if you're interested in the job, you can apply. My listeners should download the free #1 rated ZipRecruiter job search app today and let the power of technology work for you.
The all-new halftime.
Phil, did you see the press release that the Texas Longhorn football team had their highest semester GPA in history? Do you know what it was?
What?
A 2.89.
Texas is back, folks.
Texas is back. How is that your highest semester GPA in the history of your football program? That is not even a B average, Phil. That's not even a B average.
Well,
how is that possible?
They're not even getting a C average on the field.
Goodness gracious. The cachet quote that you just heard from Joe Tess when they beat Notre Dame a few years back under Charlie Strong, that's been played over and over, and Texas always gets made fun of because of those particular words from Joe Tess. But how could you be celebrating that? That is an absolute joke. I would be embarrassed.
Texas is back, folks. Every weekday from 12 to 2, only on ESPN 95.3.
You're born amazing, and at Baptist Health, we want to keep you that way. In fact, that's our mission, to not only provide the most skilled doctors and nurses to heal you from sickness or injury, and comprehensive care to support your recovery, but also to be your guide to health. Also, you can keep on inspiring, keep on reaching, and keep on amazing. For the care that keeps you amazing, visit Baptist-Health.com.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Your voice lets him know he's safe. Shelter Insurance does the same for you. Roadside assistance provided by Road America is now included with your auto policy. We'll take care of you. Thank you. While you take care of what's most important. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask shelter agents Randy Milam or Brad Howe about a free insurance review.
Looking to upgrade your fleet or needing professional service to your existing fleet? Carco International of Fort Smith offers the latest trucks and equipment in the industry. With over 70 years in the trucking and equipment business, they have the experience to keep you on the road. Carco International offers professional service after the sale. Carco International Parts Department supplies all makes, parts, and gives expert service. Carco International is the answer. Leave it to the pros to keep you on the road. Carco International, located at 2721 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
We don't need any additional rain, but we have several rounds for the next few days. Showers and thunderstorms today. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be right around 85. We're left with an isolated shower or storm tonight. Overnight lows near 70. And Wednesday, we will see widespread showers and thunderstorms with highs in the mid-80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Mosquito Joe. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your outside fun this year. Call Mosquito Joe at 479-202-9960 to keep your yard mosquito-free, or visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 88 days.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
on your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, I'd have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
But hold on, it's almost halftime.
Pretty rare that big breaking news that you're expecting to be big breaking news comes out at 7 in the morning. I guess that might happen a little more often when you're living on the West Coast, where you're about 3 hours behind just about half the country, or at least half the population. Us here in Arkansas Central Time, 7 o'clock is 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and that's when the NCAA made their announcements as to the start times and the starting days of the 2019 NCAA Super Regionals. They, there's really, I guess you could say, there's a little bit of mystique. Not mystique is not the right word, or just anticipation when you're figuring out what the start times are for the biggest series of the year for all of these teams. Because after these Super Regionals, the next time any of these teams play a series against one team, they'll be playing for the national championship in the College World Series in Omaha. I mean, you don't call the regionals a series. That's a pod or a bracket or a tournament format of some sort that's different from what you get this next weekend at Baum-Walker Stadium when Arkansas and Ole Miss square up in a best 2 out of 3. I've always thought 2 out of 3 or a series format, whether it's 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 7, is the best way to determine the best team in baseball, and that's why they've been doing it in the majors for years and years. I don't even understand the way that the old College World Series and the old regionals were constructed, when you had basically 8-team round robins and 8-team regionals. We've got it pretty good in college baseball now that you have a real series to get to determine one of the top 8 teams at the end of the season. So I mean, there is anticipation as to the start time and the day that the series begin. Maybe not quite as much of anticipation or wonder as to what the field is going to look like we had last week, when Arkansas was one of the secure teams with the knowledge that they were going to be a top 8 seed for the second year in a row. They were not on any sort of bubble, whether you're looking at a bubble for a national seed or a bubble for the top 16, which get a chance to host, or whether you're on the bubble for the field of 64. The bubble isn't a thing now. Now it's just about what day do you play, what time do you play, and let everybody make their plans accordingly. I found it so interesting that the tickets for the Super Regional in Fayetteville sell out, in about 9 or 10 hours after the announcement was made?
Less than 10 hours, Phil.
And
less than 10 hours.
And nobody even knew what the game times were or what the days were, what day is going to start. I mean, that's the sort of anticipation that you're dealing with and the sort of excitement that you're dealing with, I think, 2 things. One, a Super Regional and a chance to make it to the College World Series 2 in a row, and that there's the feeling, I think, amongst Arkansas players and the team overall and the fan base that there's a little unfinished business with this Ole Miss club that has won 4 consecutive series from Arkansas and beat them 3 out of 5 this year. So when I woke up a little bit earlier than usual. It wasn't quite like waking up on the first morning of Hanukkah, or for you, Tye, the first day Christmas morning, where you're just drooling at the anticipation of opening whatever gifts it is. But I'm interested in finding out what my life will look like this next weekend. I know you do too. I know the players do. So we woke up this morning and find out that a little bit surprised we're going to be the Saturday, Sunday, Monday series, but that does make it 2 years in a row. And that also means that if Arkansas does get to Omaha, then they'll open up on Father's Day for the second year in a row, like they did last year with that thrilling win over the University of Texas. And then, there's a little disappointment when you see that you're the first game on Saturday, which makes it an 11 o'clock morning game. And just think how disappointed you feel when during the football season, a couple weeks ahead of a game, you see the press release from the Razorback Twitter account or wherever it is that you find out when the game is going to be played, or maybe if you open up your TV guide a week before the game opens. Tye, you ever open TV guide before? You know what that's like?
You know what, man? I actually used to do that when I was living at home with my parents. They would get the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and I would actually do that. And I know that you think of the TV guide now, it's just getting on your TV and clicking through that. But back in the day, I don't have to push the generational gap because I actually did that back in the day, Phil.
It was, and I know we're talking super regional baseball, but the day the TV guide arrived in my parents' mailbox was like my favorite day of the week. Talk about planning out your week, like I'm talking about planning out this weekend.
Yeah.
That pretty much told me everything I would be doing for the next 7 days once I open up that TV guide and get through the first couple of pages of ads. Anyway, 11. Think about how disappointing you feel, Tye, when you were told that it is yet another 11 o'clock morning kickoff for Arkansas football.
Can I tell you from a selfish standpoint, I was happy because that means instead of having to work the post game and be up here till 10 or 11 Friday night, I'll get to go down to Dallas early for the Jimmy Buffett concert and come back. So selfully.
No, hold on a second. I'm talking about the disappointment of football. I'm asking you how disappointed you feel when you see it's another 11 o'clock morning kickoff in a season full of nothing but 11 o'clock morning kickoffs in conference games.
Sorry,
what's your disappointment like?
I thought you were referring to the first game on
Saturday. We'll get into the baseball schedule in just a moment.
You know what? I mean, John started that petition, and me and him jokingly believe that he was the biggest reason that Arkansas had that night game against, as you reiterated as well, the night game against LSU. I just think, regardless of the age you are as an Arkansas Razorback football fan, you don't want 11 o'clock games. And some will say, well, then it opens up the rest of your day. But if you're planning on going to the game, if you're planning on attending, tailgating, doing whatever whereabouts you're doing that day, I would think that you want at least a 2:30 game. My favorite was the 2:30 CBS game. Now, you haven't had one of those in quite some time because the Arkansas Razorbacks haven't been good enough on the football field to establish them in that position. That being said, I think the 2:30 was probably my favorite. You just kept getting these 11 o'clocks last year. You kept sulking. You kept getting bummed out. And I get it. I don't know many even just college football fans in general, Phil, who are fond of the 11 a.m. game. That's why I'm curious to see how Fox does putting their primetime game in that slot and seeing how fans react to it.
Well, and you never play 11 o'clock in the morning for baseball. I mean, you'll play 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a getaway day Sunday, crazy SEC rubber match Sunday. But the only time you ever schedule an 11 o'clock morning game is if you're worried about weather. If you're trying to get yourself an extra hour or there's a window to play in the morning that you know about. So, nobody likes 11 o'clock morning football kickoffs. And I'm getting a little bit of a sense that people are disappointed about an 11 o'clock first pitch on Saturday, which I can understand why. On the other hand, while you do not have a single night game scheduled for the Super Regional at Baum-Walker Stadium because the powers that be have it 11 in the morning on Saturday, 2 in the afternoon on Sunday, and then if one of the teams forces a third game on Monday, it's 3 o'clock. This actually works out, at least in the Super Regional's favor, because the thing you got to make sure you do is get the games in. And we got a problem with weather this weekend across Arkansas because there are chances of spotty storms all throughout Saturday and Sunday and potentially Monday, if I look at my weather report correctly. So you can't. I don't believe you can start a Super Regional game early because these games are slotted specifically for television.
Correct.
And it would seem to me that if you have a start time at 11 o'clock in the morning, that gives you the rest of the day if you have to use it. As I look at my weather app here, 80% chance rain on Saturday, mostly in the early afternoon. So I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered anyway, but I know that that's one of the reasons Dave said he'd like to push that first pitch to the first game of the regional early, although I think, honestly, it's more about cutting the tension of the day. And so that does the same thing. It should cut the tension of the day a little bit because how many of you are going to get up at 5 in the morning and tailgate for a good long time? And I would expect, we can talk about atmosphere at a night game at Boehm Stadium. And it's don't get me wrong, there's a difference between night game and day game during the regular season. I really can't imagine that the atmosphere will really be any quieter for a super regional against Ole Miss at 11 in the morning as maybe it would be at 8 o'clock at night.
You just have to, as you pointed out on Twitter, you just kind of have to change up your drinking options a little bit. And like cards on the table, the reasoning behind the games supposedly being louder at night is because you have more time in the day to drink. That's just being honest. That's what most people would lead you to believe. That's why night games are louder. That's why Death Valley is just a horrendous place to play as an opponent at night, because those Cajuns have that much more time to drink during the day. That being said, Phil, I'm completely with you, man. Maybe the 11 o'clock Saturday game, there's people still getting in. It might not be, but those, like the Sunday game at 2, that is going to be a raucous atmosphere. And I still anticipate the Saturday game, even though it's early, even though it's 11, even though everyone might not be up at, it's the Super Regionals, man. It's Ole Miss. It's a team that you hadn't beaten in the series in the last few years. The fans are going to be riled up, and you know this team's going to be ready to play this upcoming weekend.
I do think it is the premier Super Regional amongst the 8 that are being played this weekend.
Only SEC one. You got the only SEC matchup, the best conference in the country, against, and you're going to have to remind me what I know they were a national seed, Arkansas being the 5th. Where was Ole Miss slotted again?
Ole Miss was 12.
Okay, so I mean it's a 5-12 match. I mean that's 2 top 16s, and you think about some of the upsets that you've had across the board in the regionals. You got like Florida State advancing, and there's a couple other schools that aren't coming to the top of my. I know Auburn advanced in the Atlanta regional. There's some schools that advanced that weren't national seeds onto the Super Regional. So from probably just a percentages and ranking standpoint alone, yeah, this has to be the premier Super Regional matchup that they're getting. That I know the timing, fans aren't a huge fan of the time-wise, but it's on ESPN, y'all. Like, they're not putting on ESPN2. They're not putting on the SC Network. This sucker is on the worldwide leader. It's on ESPN. You're going to get a lot of attention regardless of the time this weekend.
Well, I mean, all right, so first of all, you're going to have to get past the start time thing. We can talk about it a little bit throughout the day, but once you get past that, then you worry about the matchup. And I think that this is the premier matchup of all of the Super Regionals that are on the docket. I mean, so 8 Super Regionals are being played. Half of them feature top seeds from the regionals they're coming out of. And one of them is an all Big 12 matchup of Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. The other, of course, Arkansas, Ole Miss. You've got Mississippi State and Stanford in Starkville, and East Carolina and Louisville. Those are your 1 versus 1s. Now, I think Oklahoma State, Texas Tech is really good. Those are 2 brand-name Big 12 programs, and Texas Tech would be the favorite, and they've been to Omaha, I think it's like 3 of the last 4 years. I mean, they've got something really special going there.
Hogs beat them last year, yeah.
And they do have a couple of former Razorbacks from last year's team that are pretty instrumental for them this year. Bryce Bonin, right-hand pitcher, and Easton Morrell, infielder, who really didn't see the field very much for Arkansas last year. Bonin pitched against Texas in the College World Series, but obviously didn't work out for either. So the other 1 versus 1, East Carolina, Louisville, I know it's a good matchup, but it's not necessarily the sort of thing that's going to draw a ton of eyes. Mississippi State, Stanford, I think, measures up when you're looking at the quality of the programs, when you're looking at the fact. Stanford and Mississippi State are interesting because they both have 2 first-year head coaches. You've got Stanford coming all the way from California to play at the new Dudy Noble Field has been the stadium that it seems that ESPN is most interested in getting some publicity, this year. And it's not that they ignore Baum-Walker Stadium, but they really seem to like that apartment building out there in left field at Dudy Noble Field. But then, I think Arkansas, Ole Miss, when you look at the players on the field, the coaches, the quality of the programs, the fact that these teams have played 5 times already this season, this is the best Super Regional out there. I do find it interesting that ESPN doesn't choose that for a later slot. On Saturday, you get Arkansas, Ole Miss at 11 o'clock. The second game is, let's see here, it looks like it's LSU, Florida State. And then, well, the people I'm looking at here lined them up incorrectly. All right, so you get on Saturday, you get Arkansas and Ole Miss at noon, Auburn and North Carolina also at noon. Well, that's Eastern times. Florida State, LSU at 2 o'clock Central, Stanford and Mississippi State at 2 o'clock Central. Anyway, I mean, I would have thought that they would have expected to move that a little bit further back. It's not going to make any difference as far as how many people in Arkansas are watching it. Maybe in some of the other spots. I see we got a call. Grant has dialed us up. He's in Fort Smith, wants to talk the Super Regional. Grant, good morning. How are you? Or good afternoon first.
Good morning. Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Just want to let you know, I love the show. I grew up listening to Chuck doing the voice of the Razorbacks in baseball, but I got to tell you, Phil, you're doing a great job, man. I love to listen to your play-by-play. I think that, I don't know that you're underrated, but I just want to tell you, man, you really, really do a good job. I never thought when Chuck, kind of stepped down from that it was like, it's going to be a big drop-off. But, man, it's been an awesome deal. You and Bubba do a great job. And I've got two questions. And Tye, also, man, I know that, maybe you haven't come from all the baseball background, but, man, you've been doing some homework, man. I appreciate the work you're putting in. Your show is really, really good, guys, and I'm a baseball homer, so that's probably why I love it so much. But a couple questions. When you're doing the play-by-play, sometimes when I'm jumping from watching it, jumping into the car, I'll go right to the radio, and I think it's standard practice to kind of give a score update at the end of the inning. And like as a listener, if I don't know where the game is, my anxiety level is so high. So I'm trying to always hear what the score is, more updated, if you know what I mean. Like we might be in the, second batter in the inning, and then I'm waiting till the inning's over before we get that score update to kind of figure out where we're at. And just telling you from a listener standpoint, it's always that way with every game that I'm listening to. I can't imagine how hard the job is, especially when Bubba's not there. It just seems like you're just having to cover so much of the game. You just do such a good job. But is it just, it's kind of a normal practice, I guess, is question one, for just to give kind of a score update at the end of the inning. And I probably just have anxiety problems. That's probably why I'm on the medication I am. But the other question is do you have any insight to what our team is doing to prepare for the Super Regional, specifically left-handed pitchers? I mean, are we bringing every left-hander that's not going to pitch this weekend that we have to throw live to our guys? And obviously, we probably don't have the left-handers that we're going to face. But what do we do other than just we're a great team and we're going to go in there and deal with it? What insight is happening in practices? Are we getting some live arm from some lefties with our starting lineup? Do you guys have any insight to that? Imagine we have, several guys on the roster that are left-handers that aren't going to throw, through the weekend and can get some live arms and just get used to that, that hard slider. And just want to kind of get your thoughts on that. If you know what Dave Van Horn, if you get a chance to ask him how he prepares specifically for the pitching we're going to see.
Well, I mean, that's a really good question, and part of it is that you don't need too much of a scouting report on Ole Miss by now. That's different in a lot of these other super regional matchups. I mean, North Carolina and Auburn really don't know much about each other, so they've got to study what they can see on television and pretty much go by that, or make a couple of phone calls to other coaches that have played against those teams. It's the same with Mississippi State and Stanford. LSU and Florida State did not play each other this year. I think the only other matchup that features teams that played each other are Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, Arkansas and Ole Miss. So there's a lot of familiarity there, and there really aren't any surprises. And Ole Miss does have a lot of left-handed pitchers, and they're definitely going to line them up in a way that will try to make it difficult for Arkansas. But every other team has done the same thing. So at this point, I don't know if it's necessarily a matter of that this team needs any extra practice against left-handed pitching, because they've seen a ton of it. I mean, even in the Super Regional against TCU, they saved pretty much all their left-handers to pitch against Arkansas. So they know what they're going to see. And the preparation started when they first scouted Ole Miss in the regular season matchup. And here's the other thing, too. A lot of the players that are on Ole Miss were recruited by Arkansas. Some of the players on Arkansas were recruited by Ole Miss. These guys know each other, and the coaches know the players. The coaches know each other. That's one of the reasons I think this will be the best super regional matchup. It's because they're going to have to find a way to outsmart the other one, because it's like that extra layer of thought. You know, a pitcher sometimes and a hitter sometimes know each other so well. This happens in the major leagues. They know each other so well because they faced each other 50 or 60 times over an 8 or 9 year stretch that they've got 8 or 9 different ways to approach how they hit or pitch against this guy that they're facing for a 51st time. So it's that chess match that we're going to see here. And again, I don't really think that there's any extra preparation that you need to do as a left-handed hitting team that knows you're going to face a lot of left-handed pitching, especially when it's, you're going to play the 62nd game of the year on Saturday? I don't think they need any extra preparation. They just need to they need to know which guy is lined up against them what day and kind of go from there.
And Phil, I think it's funny, you and Bubba always talk about, and it's more Bubba than anything, like if like someone will have a hit list streak, like Casey Martin for the other day, he always talks about, well, he's due. That gives Bubba more of an inclination to think that, oh, he's going to get a hit, he's going to turn it around. It's kind of like you can try to translate that to a series or a game in general. Yes, you've struggled against Ole Miss these last few years. You have not had a lot of success against them. Heck, you lost them in Baum this year. That being said, I'm going to kind of tie that into Bubba's philosophy. You haven't played great against them, but does that mean you're due? I mean, it's postseason now. Like, this is where Arkansas shines. This is Ole Miss. Yes, they're a good ball club, and Bianco's done a tremendous job there, but when you think postseason baseball at Baum Walker Stadium, typically the Razorbacks prevail, and that has to, even though you haven't had a lot of success against Ole Miss, you gotta believe in that a little bit. So I'm gonna lean with Bubba on this one.
You know, part of this also too is when you're struggling as a hitter, sometimes you can work yourself harder into a deeper slump. You know, just kind of it can corkscrew into the ground a little bit more, spiral out of your control, and it might be different for every hitter. But for a team that, so to speak, everybody seems to think they just struggle against left-handed pitching, I don't really think they need to do anything extra, because here's part of it. They actually aren't terrible against left-handed pitching. They're just not as good as they are against righties.
And, yeah, it's kind of like you had to stress this to me because I was kind of in the whole mob mindset. Well, these guys hadn't done anything against lefties. That's not true. They've been so strong, so just absolutely crushing righties that it looks like from that standpoint that they're not hitting lefties. But in reality, they're just not hitting them as well as they are righties. And sometimes it's hard to grasp as a fan when you see what they do against righties. But when it comes full circle, they're just not as good against lefties as they are righties, Phil, as you pointed out to me several times.
Hey, let's step aside for a break. Really appreciate that phone call too, Grant. And I'll try to get that score in a little more often. I try to give the score at least once per batter. Sometimes it happens more than that. But if you're talking about your anxiety, that might be one reason why you miss the score every once in a while. So, and I appreciate the kind words about enjoying the play-by-play. I have fun doing it, and I hope that means other people enjoy listening too. I know part of the fun of listening is that Arkansas wins, and that was a lot different when I was doing minor league baseball. I can tell you that for sure. All right, this is halftime. We'll be back after a break on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
A show that lives up to the hype. You're listening to Halftime. It's Southern Tire Mart Free Break Inspection Tuesday. This is the Morning Rush.
College baseball. Not going to get football numbers.
Maximizing me being pissed off is what it's doing.
I understand.
As well as the rest of Razorback fans. I just want to have night games. At least one night game. Come on. But like you said, Tommy, though, maybe Arkansas can get lucky, quote unquote, and have the weather push back those games a little bit to where it does end up being a night game.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Summertime is fun time, and we're all about it at Rath Auto Resources. Hi, folks. Larry Rath here with exciting news about our summer sales drive. We're out to break every sales record this summer, and we're doing it with extra for trades, fast, easy financing for every situation, and huge discounts on our entire Rath road-ready inventory. Like these special purchase 2018 Toyota Corolla LEs for only $14,848 or $0 down and $229 a month while they last. Plus, we'll be giving away a showroom full of summer fun prizes, including a grand prize trip to Big Cedar Lodge. Or let us take care of the car you have with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires, free AC checks, and 10% off all AC work in our Meineke Car Care Center. Don't wait. Give us a call, go online, or visit us today to save some real money on a nicer, newer car and register to win fun prizes during the summer sales drive at Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
No purchase necessary. 0 down payment with approved credit. See dealer for details.
Metal Mart offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shop, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Mart assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. Stop by 7320 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith or call 648-3342. You can also catch them online at metalmarts.com. Metal Mart, the right material for the right price.
Want to have more than your average home? D&D Flooring is a simple choice. You can choose to have excellent customer service and design assistance with D&D Flooring. Wood, vinyl, carpet, to beautiful window treatments, professional installation every time. 0 financing options available. Come see D&D Flooring large showroom and selections. D&D Flooring, serving the River Valley and surrounding areas. 1323 Main Street, Van Buren, or call 474-0533.
Win the battle against weeds with a trip to Metters Lumber True Value. Save now on Roundup Concentrated Weed and Grass Killer. A 36.8-ounce bottle is just $18.99 after a $4 instant rebate for True Value Rewards members. This ready-to-use formula destroys tough weeds and grasses down to the root. It's waterproof in 30 minutes with results in only 12 hours. Don't miss this bargain of the month while supplies last. Metters Lumber True Value. Certain exclusions apply. See store for details.
The law offices of Andrea Stone Hanna, PLLC, are proud supporters of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Call them today before your soon-to-be ex does. Andrea Stone Hanna and David L. Powell promise to do whatever they can to assist and support you, your family, and your business when you face the toughest legal challenges you could possibly encounter. For divorce, custody, and all family law or criminal matters, call Andrea or David today at 479-242-5874 and request a consultation. Contact them today at AndreaHannahLaw.com or call 479-242-5874.
Mosquito Joe. We see the signs in the yard. We see the vans on the street. We also hear you on the radio. Brad, why is Mosquito Joe so popular?
Well, Mosquito Joe's so popular because it works, and it's all in the name. At Mosquito Joe, we are solely focused on eliminating those pesky mosquitoes from your yard. We're not a jack of all trades. We do one thing, and we do it right. Mosquito Joe gets rid of mosquitoes. Give us a call at 479-202-9960 or visit our website, arkansas.mosquitojoe.com. Mention you heard us on ESPN and get your first service for $39.
This next segment on Halftime is brought to you by the Kevin Hickey Law Firm, the #1 resource for your child advocacy needs. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Swung on and lifted deep to center. Fletcher on the run. Dominic Fletcher goes into a slide. Did he make the catch? What a catch by Dominic Fletcher! A tumbling, sliding grab, and this one belongs to the Razorbacks.
Dominic Fletcher, the first Razorback selected in the draft.
First off the board, man.
I got to say, that was a surprise. That was a surprise, and not in a bad way, because I think that's terrific that Fletcher this year, as the top position player on the ball club, does get picked one slot ahead of Isaiah Campbell. Fletcher, the 75th overall pick taken by Arizona, and Campbell, the number 76 overall pick taken by the Seattle Mariners. You know what that means? That means Zayday may be pitching in Arkansas again sometime in the next couple of years. That's right. Arkansas has the AA affiliate of the Seattle Mariners. That is my former Arkansas Travelers, though when I worked there, they were an Angels affiliate, and the Mariners were kind of like this gypsy-like organization that had their AA affiliate just moving all over the place. But they've been at Dickey Stevens Park for I think 3 or 4 years now. So I'd see Zay making it to AA in a couple of years. You know, Blaine Knight's pitching at high single A. I think Zay will get to AA in about 2 years. So that means Matt Cronin should be going sometime soon.
Yeah, and 3 through 10 will be today, and then you got rounds 11 through 40 on Wednesday. And Phil, how about this stat, bud? Last 45 years, dating back to 1975, got at least one player drafted.
That's really that's amazing.
That's wild.
That
Absolutely
really is.
Wild. So that's from the University of Arkansas website, which is just unbelievable. But I want to get your take on this. We had Matt Hobbs on the Morning Rush, And it was, I believe, the second question that Tommy asked him. Here's what he had to say about where Isaiah Campbell was drafted in at pick number 76.
Yeah, I think Zay did such a good job getting himself to this position that obviously he's worthy of that pick, and I thought he could have gone a little bit higher than that, truthfully.
Phil, I thought we had talked about at points this season that this was like a mid-40s, mid-50s guy projected. Was that a little low to be drafted at 76 by the Mariners?
Potentially. I think that some teams might have fallen asleep on Isaiah Campbell. And look, I always predicate my thoughts on where a player goes in the draft by saying I am not a scout. I have never been a scout, and I can't come from that perspective. I can only go by, and I just don't know enough about a lot of the other players that are available in the draft. But I do know, watching Isaiah Campbell, who to me at 6'4", and I think he's at 220 or 225 right now, with his arm slot, and he throws straight over the top. He's sitting at 93, 94 miles an hour pretty easily. That velocity is going to pick up. He's throwing 5 pitches right now, and that's not to say, any organization, the Mariners may want him to approach pitching a little bit differently as far as we want you to work on this pitch more, drop your off speed, something like that.
Yeah.
But he's very intelligent. He's a physical kid. He's in very good shape. I would have seen him going earlier too, and I agree with Matt Hobbs. I think Isaiah Campbell has the stuff, the projectability, the intelligence, and the resolve to eventually become a frontline Major League starting pitcher. I'm not going to make any predictions on Cy Youngs or All-Star games, but I could see him having a fruitful Major League career. And to go 76 in the draft and to have a fruitful Major League career, that can be really difficult to do even for the top overall pick. Although Adley Rutschman, to me, this is a kid who's going to be an MVP at some point. I really think that.
Yeah, and Arkansas unfortunately got the brunt end and the taste of what he can do.
He already was an MVP, but they took out the V and they put in an O in Omaha for the most outstanding player. Hey, I want to go to Ryan, who dialed us in from Fort Smith. Ryan, what's up?
Hey guys, great show. Just a couple of quick comments. First of all, you guys may have already touched on this, but how about us earning number 5 overall national ranking and really kind of getting the shaft, it feels like, by the NCAA on the game times? And then also, I thought the previous caller had a good point. Any extra anxiety from the fan standpoint and the fact that we do know Ole Miss so well, and if there is a team out there that feels like has Dave Van Horn's number, it's Ole Miss.
Hey, there's legitimacy to that, Ole Miss has won the series 4 straight years. They beat Arkansas 3 out of 5 this season. The Hogs have had a lot of trouble against this program, and I'll look back at Dave's record here against them if I can find it before we go to the break, because you're mentioning something that might hit home with a lot of folks. So I'll have to look that up during the commercial break, because it is an interesting, because these two coaches know each other as well as any coaches do. Mike Bianco's been the head coach at Ole Miss for 19 years. Dave's the head coach at Arkansas for 17 years. So, and they've been in the same division all these times. And this is the first time they'll ever meet in the postseason, because I don't count Hoover as the postseason. I count post Hoover as postseason. So yeah, I think that part of I don't remember feeling the fan base feeling that anxiety when South Carolina came in last year, and they knew Arkansas just as well as Ole Miss does this year. Arkansas and South Carolina played 4 times last season, ended up playing 7 games. But it's different, you don't play Carolina every year. You had won a series from Carolina last season and actually went into the Super Regional with wins in 3 of 4 against them. And it's different against Ole Miss. Carolina was a 2 seed, I think, last year when they came out of the East Carolina Regional. Ole Miss was a 1 seed. They went 3-0 in their home regional and were dominant. So I can understand that anxiety, yes.
And I think also, Phil, kind of the point that you always reference is Arkansas has lost every series to Ole Miss since 2015, and it has lost 3 out of 5 this year when they played. So I think kind of the recent games that Arkansas has failed to win kind of scares folks as well.
Let's go to a break. Nikki Chavanel coming on to join us here on Halftime. And this is ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Tommy Kraft for The Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, The Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, controlled access, and card readers. Call The Fence Man for a quick, no obligations quote. 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Quit eating your burgers off a coffee table. If you want to eat a burger, put it on a bar. Follow your instincts to B-Dubs for the new All-American Cheeseburger. Fresh, juicy beef smashed till it's crispy around the edges, covered in gooey cheese, and stacked to the ceiling with deliciousness. And knock that baby down with a frosted beer at the bar, just like the sports gods intended. The new All-American Cheeseburger at Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar! Please drink responsibly.
Spring is coming, and Prestigious Pool Care and Storage is ready to help you open your pool, replace your old liner, or update the equipment. Prestigious Pool Care and Storage is the local dealer for Regal Chemicals. Our testing center will help determine what Regal chemicals you need for balancing and sanitizing the water. We have mini storage to store that winter cover or other household items also. Let Prestigious Pool Care and Storage and Regal recharge your pool for a safe and happy summer. 9900 Highway 71 South or call 648-1213.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hinton. You asked, and we listened. New financing options available now at Champ Hinton Enterprises. Can you believe payments starting at $150 a month, 5-minute credit approvals, and 0 down with trade-ins? Come find out for yourself why we have been serving families in the River Valley for over 38 years with over 35,000 cars, trucks, and SUVs sold. We treat you like family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, I-540 at the Arcoma exit, or champhinton.com.
Bush Machine and Tractor at 7301 0 Street in Fort Smith is your one-stop shop for tractors, lawnmowers, and implements. Choose from Massey Ferguson, Branson, and TYM tractors. Implements from Woods, Battle Armor, and Modern Ag. Find a Gravely commercial mower and get the job done mile after mile and season after season. Bush Machine and Tractor is your #1 Branson dealer in Arkansas and works on all brands of tractors and mowers. Come see us or check out all our inventory at bushtractor.com.
It's tough out there, trying to stretch every paycheck a little further than the last one. It means cutting costs. And one of the best places to start is at the office of State Farm agent Jason Glover, because he'll do a free discount double check to make sure you're getting the car insurance discounts you deserve, up to 40%. So give State Farm agent Jason Glover a call today, because being there to help keep more of your money in your pocket is why he's here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Discounts may vary state to state.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
And this one belongs to the Razorbacks. 1 run, 1 hit, and a runner stranded for Ole Miss in the 9th inning. The final score on a Friday night at Baum-Walker Stadium. Hawks 5, Ole Miss 3.
I want to make sure I answered Ryan's question about Dave Van Horn versus Ole Miss. Arkansas 24 wins, 37 losses against Ole Miss under Dave Van Horn. That includes a 10-17 record at Baum-Walker Stadium. But it is the first time these teams have ever met in the postseason, and maybe that'll change things around a little bit. Let's go to Nikki Chavanel joining us right now on the hotline. Nikki, of course, the outstanding editor and beat writer from Rivals.com covering Arkansas athletics. Nikki, it's a super regional week. There's a lot of excitement around it. Some people think the Hogs got screwed with the start times. What's your thought?
Well, I don't really mind the early starts, I guess, but it's going to be really hot, I think. Luckily, it looks a little cloudy, so maybe people won't get the sun right on them. But at least it'll be on TV if you can't make it to the ballpark. So overall, I'm sure the players will tell you, who cares? Let's just play and try to move on.
I think they're just happy that they know when the games are going to be played. What's your read? I know we usually talk basketball and football with you, and we'll get to that in a moment. What's your read on this series? Because I think this is the best super regional that's out there. I love watching baseball teams that know each other, and I don't think any teams that are amongst the last 16 left know each other any better than these two.
yeah, they seem to have figured each other out, and Arkansas, if they can heat up the bats, I think they'll be in good shape. All three of Arkansas starters are looking good, but Ole Miss is looking hot as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who can come out on top this weekend.
Okay, so there, a lot of people. We haven't talked yet about Jacoby Criswell announcing that he will commit to North Carolina, and we were going to get into a topic about Eric Musselman and Chad Morris haven't necessarily recruited inside the state 100% hot on the top players in the state. You can say the same thing about Mike Anderson too. Letting now Isaac McBride get out. And I saw the same thing, baseball-wise. It's not that Arkansas didn't try to recruit Jaden Hill out of Ashdown, but the top player in the state last year decided to go to LSU. So, this happens in some cases. What's your read on Jacoby Criswell, why he chose North Carolina, and what this means for Arkansas's football program overall?
So, early on, obviously, they looked into Jacoby Criswell and how he would fit, and he is the 14th ranked dual threat according to Rivals right now. He's obviously a really talented player, but Arkansas didn't offer right away. There were some other SEC schools that offered first, like Georgia, and that kind of put the pressure on them to offer, whether they were ready to do that yet. And then he got hurt in his junior season. And over the course of his junior season, I guess the staff just kind of made it pretty clear to him that they didn't think he was the best fit for this 2020 class. And so he started looking more seriously at other options. And when Phil Longo moved from Ole Miss over to UNC, that's when they really started recruiting him hard. And he liked it over there a lot. They, recruit him as if he's part of the family, and he likes that a lot. But he did go and visit Alabama to try to pick up an offer there, and they had been telling him that he was on their radar, but I don't think he was going to get that after this past weekend, and so he decided to just pull the trigger and commit to UNC. And that's a good fit for him. They already have a 2020 quarterback in the class, Malik Hornsby from Texas, who was at one point an A&M commit. So now they have two really, really good quarterbacks. And, Arkansas fans don't have to see Jacoby play against them that we know of so far. So all in all, a good situation for him.
Talking with Nikki Chavanel, Rivals.com. Nikki, let's keep the conversation going with the number one recruit in the state, Jacoby Criswell. With him, what are some weaknesses that you see that you've gotten to watch him or watch highlights in this season that you think kind of worried Arkansas coaches like Chad Morris and Joe Craddock?
I'm not really sure. I would have, loved to hear some of that. I think he's a really good player. He's a really strong arm. I think maybe consistency, maybe that's something that they really look for. Can you make every throw consistently? And maybe that was an issue. Jacoby only got to play 5 games of this last season, so I don't really know how he'll develop, but they know what they're looking at on film. And right now, it's just looking like it'll be Coach Morris's son, Chandler Morris, in this class, and we'll see how that shakes out in the next probably month and a half.
Nikki, I was listening to Ruskin and Zach yesterday, and they're under the assumption that Chandler Morris is a done deal, and one of the reasons that Chad Morris and his staff aren't heavily recruiting Jacoby Criswell is because Morris is essentially a lock to come in this next year. With that kind of sentiment, with that kind of thinking, do you think that's a possibility, or do you think that Chad is still actively trying to recruit his son to come to Arkansas?
Well, Coach Morris has made it pretty clear that he will not be actively recruiting his son, but he's leaving that up to the assistants. But they are very much actively recruiting him. They go out to see him whenever they are allowed to. And I do think that he'll end up coming to Arkansas. The only question is whether there will be a second quarterback in the class, in Haynes King from Texas, who won a state championship as well for Longview High School in East Texas. And he is very, very talented as well. Kind of everything that Chandler Morris has, but a bigger kid. So we'll see what happens there. A&M is pushing for him very hard. Texas just got their quarterback commit another one last night. So Texas A&M is a little behind, and I think they're going to push for King very hard. And so that really leaves Chandler Morris. And Criswell knew what the situation was, and I think in the end he made the best decision for him. And Arkansas fans should be happy for him.
And I get that. And kind of keeping it going with top recruits in the state, Blaine Toll has not committed anywhere yet. He's one of the best. He's probably the best athlete in this state. You know more about that than I do. Let's say Arkansas, they let Jacoby Criswell go. He goes to North Carolina, and then Blaine Toll ends up at Oklahoma or somewhere else. Is that a bad look for Chad Morris and his staff if the top 2 recruits in the state of Arkansas decide to go elsewhere?
You know, this is a really weak class, this 2020 class for the state of Arkansas. Looking at the current ratings, I do not see them having a 4-star in this class. They haven't not had one, at least one, since 2004, I think. So it's really a down year for them. Someone could emerge and earn that 4th star with their senior season, but I'm not really sure I see that happening right now. And then I also kind of see a shakeup happening with the rankings in general. I think you see Robert Scott maybe move up to the number 1 spot. He is the offensive lineman from Conway. But no, you know, there's only so many spots that you have. If the player isn't a great fit, I don't think that you should use a spot on them just because they're from closer by than some other recruits.
Nikki, I want to get back to Chandler Morris for a quick minute here. Do you know if Texas A&M has recruited him? You know, Chad Morris's alma mater. Have they looked at him? Have they sent him an offer?
Let me check real quick on the offer. I know that he has been to visit, and they've recruited him a little bit, but I don't think they're pushing for him very hard there. Definitely, Haynes King is the guy that they're going for next. They told him that they'd be punching that up once Malik Hornsby ended up committing to UNC.
I'm just looking into my crystal ball, which I don't even have one. I'm looking into a space of empty air and trying to figure out what it would be like and how the script would almost write itself for talk shows and message boards. Should Chad Morris's son play at the University of Arkansas while his dad is the head coach? You know, it's like unless you're a scrub and you know you're not going to see the field, which is what like Pat Knight playing for his dad at Indiana was like. I was a student when Pat Knight played for Bobby Knight, and you just sort of laughed whenever Pat ended up on the court because you knew if that happened, the game was over. Chandler Morris to me is a different sort of a player, and it's almost like any mistake will be magnified, and I don't know. It's not that only bad things can happen. It's just there are so many variables when a coach's son is involved on a team. I just don't know if it's the sort of thing that either one of them would really want.
Well, if they didn't want it, I don't think you would have seen an offer out because I think that they do generally, you know, uphold the integrity of the offer, and they only give out offers if they're very serious about the player. But Chandler Morris has a lot of talent, so if they're playing him, that means that you know that he's ready. It's not because he's Chad Morris's son. Coach Morris is a very, very, he has a lot of integrity, so there would be no reason to think that he's just playing his son because it's his son. So that argument you can just throw out the window, but the only reason people should criticize the move is if it doesn't look like they have another option. And at least for 2 years, we know that they will by the time that Chandler Morris was even ready to play. So I'm not really worried about that aspect at all. As long as they can get a great 2021 quarterback to supplement him, then I don't think it's an issue.
Nikki, you touched on something earlier with in-state talent, the chance that Arkansas, for the first time in quite some time, might not have a 4-star kid inside this next 2020 class. When you look at the other schools inside the SEC parameter, we always talk about how Arkansas's lacking compared to the in-state recruiting talent that you see across the board, LSU, Bama, Florida, Georgia. Nikki, does Arkansas have the worst in-state crop to choose from of all the SEC schools?
They're definitely up there. I think historically maybe Kentucky is a little worse, but Arkansas is definitely up there, and they also are further away from blue chip recruits than most other SEC schools. And studies show that recruits only go so many miles away from school on average, and Arkansas is outside of that bubble. So they really do have to expand their search already just to fill classes. So I don't think it makes a big difference. But it is also always nice to have those in-state kids that, people can look forward to watching play, and they keep track of them in high school and their senior year, and that's always a fun thing. But who knows if that'll happen this year with a 4-star. At least we know they already have at least one in-state commit in Jashad Stewart.
Nikki, always appreciate your time and your expertise. Thanks as always. Have a good week.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Nikki Chavanel from Rivals.com. Before we go to the break, need to talk to anybody out there that is dealing with divorce or child custody issues. If you're dealing with DHS, anything involving your kids, get a hold of Kevin Hickey Law Partners. They've dealt with all of it: angry spouses, false accusations, ugly custody battles. Facing anything like this, call Kevin Hickey Law Partners, made up of experienced, caring individuals that will step in and aggressively represent your interests. Call Kevin Hickey Law in the River Valley at 479-434-2414, or Northwest Arkansas. The number is 479-802-6560, or just go online to kevinhickeylaw.com. First hour of halftime wraps up. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio. It's Southern Tire Mart Free Brake Inspection Tuesday.
Get $60 back by mail on a Firestone Visa prepaid card when you buy a set of 4 eligible tires. Get up to $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Your Firestone tires are waiting for you at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith.
Valid now through July 8th. Restrictions apply. Card issued by the Bancorp Bank pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc., the Bancorp Bank member FDIC, and can be used everywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. Card terms and conditions apply. See store for details. All rights reserved. Subject to credit approval. The Bancorp Bank is not affiliated with CFNA.
Are your real estate investments being properly managed? Are you sending a check or cashing a check each month? If you're tired of your current property managers, then call Trinity Multifamily. Trinity will qualify your tenants and leases, inspect your properties, and take care of maintenance and provide you with web-based access to current financial reports, leases, and pictures of your property. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
Was your roof damaged by recent storms? Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006, will work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection, 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
They worked through any problems that came up and got me driving a very nice car. I found the people at Hertz Car Sales to be very helpful and easy to work with. This is what buying a car should be like.
Why not make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard or give them a call at 783-1722. You can also check them out on the web at buyfromhertz.com. Trade-ins are always welcome. Stop by Hertz Car Sales today. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
Adams & Son Roofing and Construction is here to assist in the rebuilding of our community during this historical time in the River Valley and surrounding areas. Adams & Son Roofing and Construction does quality workmanship from complete roofing, siding, gutters, inside your home remodeling, plus all your construction needs. Give them a call today for a free estimate. 479-434-4455. Adams & Son Roofing and Construction, licensed, insured, and bonded. Check us on the web at adamsroofingandconstruction.com. Adams & Son Roofing and Construction, here for our community.
Are you looking at new floors for your home or maybe a new look in some rooms? Look no further. Woodard Carpet and Designs in Clarksville can provide the products and services to fit your needs. JT and Melissa Woodard, along with the certified staff, will help you with floors, walls, and windows, along with in-house decorating. They can carry luxury vinyl, plank, and tile, commercial carpet, Wilson Art countertops, custom area rugs, wallpaper, and custom blinds. Visit Woodard Carpet and Design at 514 West Cherry in downtown Clarksville.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
This next segment on Halftime is brought to you by the Kevin Hickey Law Firm, the #1 resource for your child advocacy needs. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
High drive by Fletcher, right field. That one's way back, and it is way out of here. Dominic Fletcher crushed that to the last row of Section 135. ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com wrapping up our first hour with the knowledge that Dan Hampton, perhaps the greatest Razorback of all time out of football, is joining the 2020 College Football Hall ballot. So it would seem to me that it would be an easy choice because he's already in Canton. So how can you not be in the college? How can't you be in Atlanta if you're not if you're already in Canton, right? Does that make sense? These two things should go together.
I would think so, but it's weird how the voters are just odd about certain ifs and buts. But we'll see. Hopefully it happens. So he was a heck of the Danimal.
I think Mike Ditka's in both Hall of Fames, and he coached Dan Hampton, knew him pretty well. Said a lot of times in football, it's not so much the stat, but how you play the game. Dan Hampton played the game as well as anybody. I don't think anybody would disagree with Iron Mike Ditka.
That's a stamp of approval right there.
Absolutely.
You got to get it now. So
we're going to put a stamp onto the second hour of Halftime. Stick around. Get Off My Lawn's coming next on ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com.
OG&E is offering home energy efficiency upgrades for a limited group of Arkansas customers, all for free. OG&E's weatherization program improves your comfort and reduces your energy bills by giving you everything from new attic insulation, caulking, sealing air leaks, even energy-saving LED bulbs and more. That's thousands of dollars in free home improvements, but only a limited number of OG&E customers can qualify. Visit OGE.com/weatherization now.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live Ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Do you love crab legs? Like you could eat your weight in crab legs? Kind of love them? Then get to the Catfish Kitchen in Van Buren every Tuesday night for all you can eat crab legs from 4 till 8. All the meaty, delicious crab legs you can hold. Plus all the fixins like coleslaw, beans, and the best hush puppies. Plus your drink, dessert, and ice cream are all included. It's only $44.95. That's all you can eat crab legs every Tuesday night from 4 till 8 at Catfish Kitchen, 727 Fayetteville Road at the top of Logtown Hill, across from the police station in Van Buren.
Evans Body Shop is ready to get your vehicle spiffed up for all the fun activities and trips that come along with the summer. Spend your days at the pool, not worrying about getting your car fixed. We'll do that for you. We will work with you and your insurance company to make the entire process easy. Follow us on Facebook so that you won't miss your chance to win Parrot Island tickets throughout the summer. Stop in today, 412 Portland Avenue, Van Buren, and you'll see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
You know, a night out with friends can be so much more. Upgrade your evening at 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Rediscover life's simple pleasures. Dial back, slow down, and immerse yourself in what true relaxation can be. Top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your night on the Avenue.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Stuck with the clouds tonight, we may see a few isolated showers or storms, an overnight low in the mid to upper 50s. Now, the chance of isolated showers or storms as we hit through Tuesday. High temperatures will be in the upper 80s to near 90, and a much better opportunity for showers and storms arriving for Wednesday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Mosquito Joe. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your outside fun this year. Call Mosquito Joe at 479-202-9960 to keep your yard mosquito-free, or visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
I hate everything you just said. KERX Parasport Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Good morning, Vietnam! Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, ought to have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Tuesday across the natural state. Hope everybody out there is enjoying their day. Definitely want to make sure on a daily basis we let everybody that's dealing with floods in Fort Smith and Dardanelle, and I know I don't know how many listeners we have in Little Rock on hitthatline.com, but certainly Little Rock and Conway and all the municipalities along the Arkansas River that are dealing with this tragic flooding, and we don't even know what this river is leaving behind once it finally does recede. I've tried to make a point of that through every baseball broadcast at least a couple of times, and on our show too. We're with you as much as we possibly can be with you, certainly emotionally and mentally, and hopefully this show and hopefully a nice run by Arkansas baseball provides at least a little bit of a diversion for all of the problems that that the river rising is forcing you to deal with. So we're thinking about you, but we also have regular days to try to get through as well. And so we do that as best as we possibly can, just like you're trying to do the same thing. All right, so on this Tuesday, we've got a few things. We're going to kick off our grass.
If the button bar would stop freezing up. Sorry.
That's okay. We can start with that. We can start with technology that doesn't work.
Old man, my ass.
Perhaps I could be of some assistance.
You're on Facebook, huh?
Well, I've been trying to figure it out. I joined about 10 minutes ago.
Well, better late than never.
Get off my lawn.
Phil, real quick, I just felt like I was Randy Rainwater there for a sec. Have you ever, like, whenever he's trying to click something, sometimes his favorite phrase, if something doesn't go right, technology-wise, is dang flab it. And this comes from the most love because I listen to Randy since I was like young. I've grown up and stuff, and that's just that. What I just did there is the most Randy Rainwater impression, except I didn't have the dang flab it.
He says dang flab it. That's like Yosemite Sam doing a talk show.
He that's his favorite phrase when some tech stuff messes up. So I just felt like Randy there. Obviously not to his degree of celebrity and stardom,
and you're also not in your own house right now doing your show. I'll maybe one other person you're aware of.
Have you seen his man cave, by the way?
I've seen pictures of that thing.
Oh
the man cave is a studio at the same time. You know, if you're gonna be a real sports radio guy and you have a man cave, it's got to double as a studio. You know this.
Yeah.
Then that's what you're shooting for at some point, right?
Hopefully. I mean, that's the goal. I know not only him. There's a Mississippi guy that does it from his house. Occasionally, like Tommy will do it at his lake house, stuff like that. Just like down the road, like once I get a little more under me and stuff, get a little more fame and fortune. And
Gosh, I would just love to do a sports radio show from my own place of living. I think that would be so cool.
I wish our listeners could see what finger I'm holding up towards you right now, but unfortunately, it's we don't do the live video. It's probably a good thing sometimes with us.
Why didn't you know? I didn't realize that finger was so much longer than the other one. All right, I think he's telling me to get off his lawn, to be quite honest with you here. But here's some guy that needs to get off the lawn right now.
The 2-2 pitch. No! Oh, the crowd can't believe it. Oh, and now we get...
He just threw his pitcher out of the game.
We just got the home plate umpire. Ken Langford has thrown McAveen out of the game. Wow. Is that right? Oh, my. Dan McDonald can't believe it.
How could anybody believe it when the Louisville closer, whose name is Michael McAveen, is ejected by home plate umpire Ken Langford while the game is on the line? It's while Louisville is leading Indiana 9-7 on the top of the ninth inning in Saturday morning's elimination game. And Louisville... and they did end up winning that ball game. McAveen was ejected with one strike left in the ball game. All he did, now look, there's certain things you can say to an umpire that are going to get you ejected. I mean, we know if all you've got to do is watch Bull Durham, and you know one of the phrases right there. And there are certain words you can say that have the hard CK sound in them that can also do the trick. But I'll also say that the words "that's horrible" are not the words that are going to get you ejected out of the game. Maybe the term "you're horrible" will do that, but one umpire is looking for those words from a pitcher with one strike left in the ball game. This is, you know what this is called, Ty? And it's the same for any sport. And you see it more in basketball, and you see it more in baseball than you do in football. Rabbit ears. That's the terminology that we're getting at here. You've heard the term rabbit ears before, right? This is not just a generational thing.
Generational gap.
Oh, my goodness, you've not heard rabbit ears. So rabbit ears also can be like rabbit eyes, because bunnies do have very good eyesight, too. Did you know that? Because they eat carrots, and carrots are good for your eyes?
I'm assuming this is just a metaphor for you have such good, you're looking for something to either throw someone out or looking for something to call.
You hear everything because the ears are so big. Or you see everything, in this case, like an umpire, Ken Langford, seeing the words from a pitcher's mouth, that at that point he wants to hear those words. Because if it's the last pitch of a baseball game, you have been getting it, and your strike zone is that bad. It really is. I mean, I've seen. I mean, the example would be that so this pitch that he got thrown out on was a 2-2 pitch. The 2-1 pitch was a breaking pitch that was pretty much right the same spot that the 2-2 pitch was located. He called the 2-1 pitch a strike. He called the 2-2 pitch a ball. They were basically in the same spot. Different pitches, breaking ball or a fastball, but they were on the same spot. He called them differently. So if that's the sort of strike zone he was working with throughout the game, he was getting it from both dugouts the entire ball game. And the rabbit ears were filled. You know, by that point, the rabbit ears had heard everything they could possibly hear, and then the rabbit ears focused his eyes on poor Michael McAveen's lips, and that was it. That was it. He snapped, and he threw a guy out that shouldn't have been thrown out of the game. You know what this does? He is suspended for 4 games. He will miss the Super Regional.
Wow.
Because of this rabbit-eared man in black umpire who is overly sensitive. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And so Ken Langford, don't just get off my lawn. Get out of the NCAA tournament. You don't belong there.
There's a breaking point for everyone. And I talked to Tommy about this, some of the stuff that's been said to him that he's let go, and then other stuff that you just have to tee someone up for. But that's horrible. Like that is nothing. There is not a single umpire, a single ref, a single official in the United States of America that should give someone a technical foul or throw someone out for the words, "That's horrible." There's so much more that can be said to that. I remember in the Eastern Conference Finals a few years back when Ray Allen got a technical for trying to get through his screen, and then the foul got called him, and he just started walking away and held his hands out and said, "No." Just the word "no." Like, not looking at the ref, he just like, "No," like frustrated, and he got a tech for that. And again, most of the time officials do a really good job. Tommy's he's brought me into the light a little bit seeing that. And I think it was funny, Eric Musselman was talking with Chuck Daly, the late Chuck Daly, and Chuck was like, "Your brain officials the whole game. Go back and check to see how many calls they got right." And he was like, "Yeah, it was 99%." But in this situation, Phil, that ump is just dead wrong. Just dead wrong.
I think there's also the difference between having a tough strike zone that isn't really very good, and that's something I'll get into later on in this too.
Yeah.
Or missing call, or just being overly sensitive for a moment that needs you to be patient, more patient than you're willing to be, perhaps, and apparently so. You have to be bigger than the irritation that you're feeling as an umpire in the ninth inning with 2 outs and 2 strikes in a regional game. Give me a break. It's not all about him. You got to be bigger than the moment.
And I think one of the other things that we can point to is fans, coaches, players, you know what they want, Phil? They want consistency, and that's what it comes down to. If you're going to call a wide strike zone, then keep it that way the entire game. If you're going to call a small strike zone, keep it that way the entire game. Don't switch up. Don't contrast. Just do what you've been doing the entirety of the game. And for him to do that, kind of like you're saying, with both teams, not just Louisville, but both teams going back and forth on him, it's not a good look.
Can I also just take this into the second, get off my list? This is the same thing for me,
Roll
too.
into it,
I mean,
man.
it's essentially the same thing. It's the college umpire strike zone. And sometimes you feel the same way about the big leagues. But those are guys that are doing it literally every day. I mean, I think Major League umpiring and college umpiring are on a whole other level. The college strike zone is not very good. And look, I've picked up on this over the first year that I did college baseball. And these umpires are paid well. For one game, they're paid. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know they're paid well for a 3-game series. They're making out fairly well. It's a tough job. It's a really difficult job. But that doesn't excuse bad strike zones. That doesn't excuse floating strike zones. That doesn't excuse strikes that are called on 3-0 pitches that wouldn't be called a strike on 3-2. The strike zone should never expand on 3-0, and you see this routinely. We saw this over the weekend in the regional. You see it all season long. It happens with big league strike zones. It should never expand on 3-0, and don't tell me it doesn't, because it does. Look, you can review all of the bad calls on the field. Essentially, almost all of them can be reviewed and changed. And I saw wasn't there a review yesterday in the Oklahoma City regional final that took like 15 minutes? Jeez, it's like, come on now. I mean, we're trying to move baseball games along a little bit, but the strike zone can't be reviewed. And I don't ever want a robotic strike zone. I don't ever want, and let me put another extra word in there, I don't ever want a robotic strike zone. And right now I don't. But if the college umpiring doesn't improve on balls and strikes, I'm going to want a robotic strike zone. And I don't want that desire. I want the human element.
Real quick, last year in the Super Regional Game 3, was that last pitch to Bonfield, was that a strike or a ball? Because I watched that.
You mean in the College World Series?
Yeah, in the College World Series.
That was low.
Yeah,
that was low. It was not
too.
a strike. There's no doubt about it. But, okay. I mean, that didn't make the difference in the win or loss. And the kid pitched a great game. Abel pitched a great game. But that was low. Yes, I remember feeling the same thing. And every time I see the highlight, I'm thinking, that was not a strike. Come on now.
That snapped into my mind as soon as you said that. So
strike zones. Get off my lawn.
Phil's angry. Phil, what did you think of the review from Jay Crizzle that I sent you last night concerning the hog pen? What did you think of that?
It was. Hey, look, I mean, people have opinions on what it's like out there. I don't know. It seemed to me being a little bit touchy. Hey, by the way, Matt Cronin was just drafted.
Where's he going?
He went in the 4th round to the Washington Nationals. Breaking news.
Okay, so
he is the 123rd overall pick, and he goes after Glenn Allen Hill Jr., former major leaguer's son. Cronin going to the Washington Nationals with the 123rd overall pick. This just happened a couple of minutes ago.
Phil, forgive my baseball ignorance. Scherzer's still there, right?
With the Nats?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so he could possibly close out one. Maybe Scherzer will be okay with coming out if Cronin gets there eventually, because we saw Scherzer the other day refusing to come out because the Nationals bullpen is garbage apparently. So. But back to this review, and I'll just do. This will take up both of mine since it's a little long. But this guy Jay Crizzle criticizes Baum Stadium on Google reviews, and it's really funny because he's just saying a lot of different things, talking about the fan that was thrown out, the old fan who he said wasn't drunk. Who I've had multiple other accounts that said that was one of the drunkest guys in the hog pen that day, saying that it was just a bunch of college kids teaming up on him and that he's not going to donate to the university anymore. And the white male mob in the hog pen is horrific. And just all this, I'm reading this. I'm like, I can debunk that. I can debunk that. I can debunk that. If you wanted to read the whole thing, it's on my Twitter at Tye Sports Radio. But for me, he's just like, well, I can't believe they're allowing alcohol. I'm not going to donate anymore. Dude, you realize that there's not only alcohol in Donald W. Toronto Razorback Stadium with the suites. The same applies for Bud Walton Arena in the suites. That's been a hog bin tradition for I don't know how long, along with the suites in Baum Walker Stadium. So I don't know where this guy's information is coming from, but he is thoroughly confused with how college athletics works when it comes to just alcohol and just the games in general. And look, I've been to Baum Walker Stadium in the hog pen dozens of times, and I've sat there inebriated. I've sat there sober. I've sat there many different places. I would not recommend, if you're really, really trying to watch the game, sitting over to where the college students and postgrad sits. Because I'm not going to lie, it gets a little rowdy over there. My generation can be stupid at times. There are places in the hog pen that aren't crazy, that aren't that wild. And yes, there are officers who patrol, who make sure kids don't get out of hand. I say kids and adults. It really applies to everyone out there. But I was furious with this guy, and everyone that I put this out on social media, and everyone's just tearing this guy's to shreds. So and you think, Phil, you think a guy named Jay Crizzle would be okay with the hog bin atmosphere, but obviously not. And not complaining. I got a buddy that got it on video that was like just tearing up Dave Van Horn, the 5-time College World Series appearing Dave Van Horn at Arkansas, the guy that got you to the College World Series final last year, compared to just some all-knowing guy in the outfield that apparently knows all things baseball and is, I guess, more knowledgeable than the head coach, Phil.
But that was also something I saw on John Neighbor's Twitter. Like, he filmed, he videoed it, he made a thing about it, and it didn't look like things were really very friendly out there at that very moment. You know where I would watch if I were in the hog pen and I couldn't be up in one of the Razorback boxes? I would be on the very last bleacher, way up at the top. That's where I would watch the game from if I'm sitting in the hog pen. If I can't be in the one of the first people lined up against the railing, then I want to be one of the last people, because there's too many people to be around to try to stand there and watch a game.
By the way, the U of A in no time is going to employ me as an administrator in any way, shape, or form. But my first action, if I was ever to get that job, is to put Phil and Bubba on the hog pen for at least one game of broadcasting. I know that's super regional, and you're not going to do that in a game of this importance, but maybe a lackluster game next year. A cream puff comes into town, and there's not as many fans out there. I really want you and Bubba to broadcast from one of those. What are those things called again?
The Phil? Razorback boxes.
The box, yeah.
Those repurposed shipping containers.
Yeah, I think that atmosphere would just be buck wild if y'all did a broadcast from out there.
It would be. All right, that's a pretty good one. I would agree with you on Mr. Kriz. What do you got next?
So I'll do this one quick. Juju Smith-Schuster, Phil, did you see that he went to a prom with a kid?
Yeah, I mean, what hasn't he done involving social media?
I love this guy, and this is obviously Phil's favorite hometown team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, wide receiver out of USC. And to anyone that doesn't like Juju Smith-Schuster, you could just get off my lawn, because this kid got broken up with right before his prom, so he asked Juju, hey, man, can you go to prom with me? And Juju's like, heck yeah. Imagine being that kid. The kid called it the best night of his life, and at one point during the dance, an AB chant broke out that had some explicatives. AB is referring to Antonio Brown, so Juju didn't start it, but the kids there did, because of their love for Juju Smith-Schuster.
Now, are you sure how much you love Juju? Because one of the things that he did, and this is also what you have to do when you go to prom in Pittsburgh, because I did the same thing as a kid that went to prom in Pittsburgh. The next day, you go to Kennywood, which is like our Six Flags. That's our amusement park.
Okay.
And there is a Steeler-themed section there and a Steeler-themed roller coaster, but there's been a big controversy in Pittsburgh this last few months, Ty, because they replaced Heinz ketchup with Hunt's. We've already fought about this a couple of times on the show because of your love for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster went to Kennywood with a bottle of Heinz and put that Heinz ketchup on other people's fries. at Kennywood.
No, he didn't.
This raises, he's already a folk hero because he's a Steelers wide receiver that gets out of the community. This puts him on a whole other level.
He's going to, man, if he doesn't retire a Steeler, then something in the next few years goes wrong. That's awesome.
Well, I think Hines will hire him.
Yeah, seriously.
As the next spokesperson. Get off my ketchup.
Seriously, man. That's. I hadn't heard that. I'm glad you told me that.
All right. So, yeah, and he's awesome. He's a lot of fun. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on him because, I mean, there is no more AB. There is no more LB. And he's the man. He is the man now in that passing game. And there's going to be a ton of pressure on him. My last, and yeah, I'm sticking with all baseball for this. I've gotten into this a couple of times. There were a few players last night that went in the first or second round of the Major League Baseball draft that were at that very moment either on deck in a winner-takes-all regional final or were on the field when it actually happened. So it's not like they got a phone call and had that moment that every other player gets when they're coming out of the draft for the NBA or football. And look, there are only so many teams that this happens to, but I feel like it should never happen. Like, you should be able to plan a day around the draft if you are a player and you know you're going in the draft. You can turn it into something rather than being on the field. I mean, let's look at it this way, and I've seen it explained like this. How do you think Nick Saban would react if the NFL draft was held during the college football playoff, the first game, the semifinal, not the final, and Tua Tagovailoa is drafted in the first round, which I anticipate he will be, by whomever, while he's about to go out to lead a fourth quarter drive? Because that's what happened yesterday for a couple of players. I don't remember the exact names out of Stanford, but they were kids that were on deck in a winner-takes-all game that found out they were drafted while they're standing there on deck. This is ridiculous. This would never happen in the NFL. And part of this is because the draft is separated from the season. In baseball, the draft is part of the season. It's part of the major league season. It's part of the minor league season. It's part of the college season, unfortunately. Now, Rob Manfred mentioned something about this last night on the major league, on MLB TV, that they're interested in coinciding the draft with the College World Series and maybe even moving the first couple of rounds, which are held at Secaucus, New Jersey, in the MLB TV studios. Maybe moving it like they're playing a major league game the day before the College World Series starts in TD Ameritrade, Tigers Royals. It would make a lot of sense to have part of the draft in Omaha at the College World Series, where amateur baseball's eyes are focused upon for that week anyway, and separate it from the games. These kids should be able to play the games that they're there to play and worry about the draft on another day.
Not 100% on this, but when I went to the College World Series back in 2015 when Arkansas made it there, I think I remember Kendall Rogers asking one of the Omaha guys, now this wasn't an MLB person or an MLB administrator, but it was someone connected with the NCAA, and that just the idea of that. So that would be cool. I mean, there's a lot of logistics that would go into that, but I think that would be cool just looking at it from the outsider perspective for them to do that. All right, but Phil, real quick before we go, the Bills Mafia. We had Chris Gregg, who played for the Bills for a little bit on former Razorback a couple months back, and he talked about just the rabid fan base, and it felt like a college fan base there. There's potential they could move. Pro Football is tweeting that they really need the city to invest in a new stadium because they've been there, I believe, since the 1960s, not in that stadium specifically, but in Buffalo, New York. And there's a possibility, and the owner of the Buffalo Bills is wanting at least partially Buffalo, the city of Buffalo, to help him build a new stadium. So it's kind of unclear at this point if they're going to stay there, but I'd be really bummed. And to those who think that they should move, that franchise should move out of Buffalo, you can get off my lawn.
All right, we'll come back after a break, and we've got some sound from Arkansas pitching coach Matt Hobbs. Also coming up later on this hour, Carson Shaddy coming on to talk Arkansas Ole Miss in the Super Regional. It's ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime.
What it's doing to me ain't a secret. It's Southern Tire Mart Free Brake Inspection Tuesday. This is the Morning Rush.
College baseball. Not going to get football numbers.
Maximizing me being pissed off is what it's doing.
I understand.
As well as the rest of the Razorback fans. I just want to have night games. At least one night game. Come on. But like you said, Tommy, though, maybe Arkansas can get lucky, quote unquote, and have the weather push back those games a little bit to where it does end up being a night game.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best of experience with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney in Family Dentistry. They take care of it all: crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. They even offer oral consciousness sedation available for your comfort. That's Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
You're born amazing, and at Baptist Health, we want to keep you that way. In fact, that's our mission, to not only provide the most skilled doctors and nurses to heal you from sickness or injury, and comprehensive care to support your recovery, but also to be your guide to health. Also, you can keep on inspiring, keep on reaching, and keep on amazing. For the care that keeps you amazing, visit Baptist-Health.com.
Now is the time to book your fundraising and corporate golf outings for 2019 at Eagle Crest Golf Course. Call Eagle Crest now before all the best dates are gone. 479-632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, voted best of the best golf course 2 years in a row. Let their staff take care of everything, from help with your tournament as well as food and beverage service. If you're looking for a place to host your corporate or charity event this year, call Eagle Crest Golf Course. 479-632-8857. 0% financing and huge spring savings on new Buicks at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. The 2019 Buick Encore, only $18,999 or just $299 a month. That's a 2019 for under $19,000. Or get 0% financing for 72 months on most Buick models, including the Cascada, Encore, Regal, LaCrosse, and Envision. Spring into savings at the #1 Buick dealer in the country, Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Evans Body Shop is ready to get your vehicle spiffed up for all the fun activities and trips that come along with the summer. Spend your days at the pool, not worrying about getting your car fixed. We'll do that for you. We will work with you and your insurance company to make the entire process easy. Follow us on Facebook so that you won't miss your chance to win Parrot Islet tickets throughout the summer. Stop in today, 412 Portland Avenue, Van Buren, and you'll see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Tired of all the broken promises and broken equipment at your current gym? The Fort Smith Athletic Club is the nicest and most well-equipped fitness and tennis club in the area, with a state-of-the-art fitness center, Pilates, fitness classes, personal and group training, and the best tennis facilities in the region. 7 outdoor courts, 5 indoor courts, plus pickleball and racquetball courts, and free childcare is included. The Fort Smith Athletic Club. Call 452-4031 for membership information.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
1-2 pitch. Open swings. Hard shot. Through the right side. Base hit. Washington to third. He gets the green light. And the throw. Not in time. Hogs win. The Razorbacks finish the sweep of Missouri. And that's how you do a Sunday at Baum Stadium.
Well, it's pretty obvious who's going to start Game 1 for Arkansas in the Super Regional versus Ole Miss. That will be Isaiah Campbell. I heard, I'm not sure who I heard talking about it the other day about who saw Patrick Wicklander twice, who saw Connor Nolan twice. Nolan and Wicklander pitched against Ole Miss 2 times each. Once Wicklander as a reliever, once as a starter. He pitched against them in Hoover as a starting pitcher. Nolan threw twice against Ole Miss as a starter. Isaiah Campbell faced them once. And that was a pretty good performance, if I remember correctly here by Isaiah. Look back here. was March 29th, 7 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, couple of walks. Arkansas won that game 5-3. Nolan pitched the next day. That was the Saturday at Baum Walker. He was knocked out in the 5th inning after giving up a home run to Tyler Keenan. Arkansas led the game 3-2 when he left. They lost the game 4-3. And Wicklander did work as a reliever the next day in relief of Cody Scroggins and wasn't very good. Gave up 2 runs in a third of an inning. So the question would be, who's your second starter? Matt Hobbs talked about that earlier today on the Morning Rush.
I think Zay's going to go on Saturday. I think that I'm pretty confident that that's going to happen. I don't know about the other 2 spots yet. We still need to talk to the staff about how we want to use those 2 spots. We'll make those decisions, I think, probably either this afternoon or tomorrow. It gives us an extra day to get our bearings with the Saturday start instead of playing the regional on Friday. I'm pretty confident that Zay will go on Saturday. But that's all I know as of right now.
So, Phil, I touched on this with you a little bit yesterday after Connor Nolan's performance this weekend. And so I posed the question to you, and you could change your mind between now and then. I'm okay with that. But right now, what's your lineup in terms of pitching this weekend?
I'm going to start Connor Nolan on Sunday. I think I would go with Nolan on Sunday. And here's the thing, too, about Connor Nolan and about Patrick Wicklander. You're going to need your bullpen to be fresh and not overworked on Saturday. And you got 8 innings from Isaiah Campbell on Saturday against TCU. You might need 7 or 8 innings again from him. And that's in order for the rest of the bullpen to be ready for the next 2 days, in which you probably will need Matt Cronin to pitch twice. You probably do need Cody Scroggins to come out a couple of times. I'm not saying you don't use Cronin on Friday or you don't use Kevin Kopps or Scroggins in whatever situation on Saturday. I'm still thinking of the first game of a series as a Friday. But with Wicklander and Nolan, 5 innings is about what you get from these guys, at least right now. For Wicklander, because he gets really deep into the count on a more consistent basis. Batters see more pitches per at-bat versus Wicklander than any other Arkansas starter. Nolan is the more economical of the pitchers, but they usually don't let Connor face the batting order for a third time. And Campbell's the guy that you're confident letting him go through the order a third time and maybe even get into the order a fourth time if things are going fairly well. But I would go with Connor Nolan on Saturday. I think he's more of a consistent strike thrower. I think that has something to do, especially if you're up 1-0. I think that would work well, giving Connor the ball with a chance to clinch a series. Not that he would go out there and throw you a complete game, but I think he'd give you a pretty good 5 innings.
And you brought up a point that I want to get to before we get to Carson Shaddy on the other side of the break is Connor Nolan really hasn't faced the lineup for the third consecutive time. Does that change with the Super Regional on the line this weekend?
I doubt it. I think in this case they probably played a little more cautiously. Both Bubba and I were a little surprised at Nolan coming out in the 6th inning against Central Connecticut. I mean, they let him face the 1 and 2 batters in the Blue Devils order a third time, but that was it. And I don't know if it was a matter of Dave wanted Kevin Kopps to get work at that moment, and Kopps was really good. He pitched 1 2/3 innings and struck out 4 batters. He was great. But Connor didn't look like he lost any stuff or any velocity or any command. But it just does seem they're reluctant to let Nolan see batters a third time. And against Ole Miss, which has a lineup that is obviously much more dangerous than Central Connecticut, I think they would be cautious as well in that situation too. Especially if they're up 1-0. They'll give the bullpen the lead in the 5th inning if they feel they don't want Nolan to face anybody for a third time. All right, we're going to talk about this with Carson Shaddy, former Arkansas Razorback. I was about to say infielder, but he played everywhere in the field as well. Before we go to the break, though, Ty, what's going on at Art's Barbecue and Burgers today?
Dollar Burgers on Saturday today. You can get whatever you want. I'm partial to the Art Attack, which is just the awesome burger that's piled high with smoked bacon, ham, fried egg, a hand-breaded onion ring. They got the ribeyes back, which are just absolutely slow smoked and grilled to perfection. Again, dollar off burgers on Saturday. And then Friday, it's the catfish special. You got a catfish special for lunch, and then all you can eat catfish for dinner. Phil, the bacon there is phenomenal. It's some of the best I've ever had. I know you're partial to the Hyatt Winfrey down there in Birmingham, but we haven't had bacon with you when you've been up here, right? You haven't had the bacon, have you?
talked about the bacon with me. I think I might have had a piece of your bacon once.
Okay, next time get the
Which
bacon.
is a very personal thing to do with somebody.
When you take my food, that shows my love for you, but also shows how much I respect Art's Barbecue bacon. So next time you're up here, man, we're gonna go get some bacon from there. Art's Barbecue and Burgers across from Aaron's on Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
Carson Shaddy joining us next on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
I have never had a more pleasant experience when I purchased my car from Hertz Car Sales. They were great to deal with and made sure I was a satisfied customer during and even after the sale. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, go see Hertz Car Sales.
Why not make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard or give them a call at 783-1722. You can also check them out on the web at buyfromhertz.com. Trade-ins are always welcome. Stop by Hertz Car Sales today. You'll be glad you did.
Joe's Grilling Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grilling Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Bush Machine and Tractor at 7301 0 Street in Fort Smith is your one-stop shop for tractors, lawnmowers, and implements. Choose from Massey, Ferguson, Branson, and TYM tractors. Implements from Woods, Battle Armor, and Modern Ag. Find a Gravely commercial mower and get the job done mile after mile and season after season. Bush Machine and Tractor is your #1 Branson dealer in Arkansas and works on all brands of tractors and mowers. Come see us or check out all our inventory at bushtractor.com.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Win the battle against weeds with a trip to Metters Lumber True Value. Save now on Roundup Concentrated Weed and Grass Killer. A 36.8-ounce bottle is just $18.99 after a $4 instant rebate for True Value Rewards members. This ready-to-use formula destroys tough weeds and grasses down to the root. It's waterproof in 30 minutes with results in only 12 hours. Don't miss this bargain of the month while supplies last. Metters Lumber True Value. Certain exclusions apply. See store for details.
The law offices of Andrea Stone Hanna, PLLC, are proud supporters of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Call them today before your soon-to-be ex does. Andrea Stone Hanna and David L. Powell promise to do whatever they can to assist and support you, your family, and your business when you face the toughest legal challenges you could possibly encounter. For divorce, custody, and all family law or criminal matters, call Andrea or David today at 479-242-5874 and request a consultation. Contact them today at AndreaHannahLaw.com or call 479-242-5874.
This next segment on Halftime is brought to you by the Kevin Hickey Law Firm, the #1 resource for your child advocacy needs. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Martin racing for third base. He's going to get the green light. Here he comes to the plate, and Casey Martin dives in with another inside the park home run.
Carson Shaddy remembers what it felt like a year ago when Arkansas was preparing for the Super Regional against another SEC team. It's 2 years in a row that the Hogs play somebody that they're very familiar with. So let's talk about what that's like. Carson, thanks for making time today. I know you're a busy guy these days. How are you?
I'm good, man, and there's always time for Phil Elson.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. So what was it like the week leading up to South Carolina? Because, you know, you guys are already prepped for South Carolina during the regular season and in Hoover. You know, Arkansas, I think you played them 4 times in the regular season. This year's Hogs, no Ole Miss, maybe a little better. They played them 5 times. Is there any extra prep you had to do? Was there any less prep you had to do? What was that like preparing for a team you'd already played?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year we just, we watched a lot of film. As you guys know, players can change throughout the season, so you want to watch their last two or three outings that you can see what they've been doing lately to have success or to not have success. So, we studied a lot of game film throughout the whole week. Just kind of got our minds right, got locked in and ready to go.
I'm always interested when baseball comes down to players, teams, managers, coaches, programs that know each other very well. That's, you get a chess match even when teams don't face each other at all during the regular season and they play in the supers. When you're talking about, Mike Bianco, Dave Van Horn, everything that these programs already know about each other, to me, it makes baseball even more fun to watch. What's it like to play in a game like that?
It's really fun. It's winner take all. We know that. And, when you get to play a team that you've already played, I think it adds more drama to it. It's just kind of a different feel. I've only been a part of 2 super regionals. So, that was definitely very, very cool feeling to have all that drama built up. They're another SEC team, and South Carolina was too. They were another SEC team. So, you know how good they are. And so we know how good Ole Miss is coming in, and I'm sure they're going to prepare accordingly.
Talking with Carson Shaddy, former Omaha, here on Halftime. Carson, we were talking a little bit earlier. Isaiah Campbell was drafted 76th overall, which we both thought was a little late. Did you as well?
Yeah, I think it was a little late. But overall, you got to look at what he did from this year and last year. He got drafted, I think, in the 20-something round. So it's a great day for Isaiah Campbell, regardless if he thinks it's late or not. I think that he got the amount of money that he probably was wanting, and he's going to look back on this and be really thankful for it. He is one heck of a pitcher, one heck of a friend. He deserves all of it.
So his teammate and your former teammate, Dominique Fletcher, actually drafted one spot before him to the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. What are the Diamondbacks getting in Dominique Fletcher?
Man, I think they're just getting a gamer. He's a ball player. He's just like his brother. I think his brother has branded himself as being one of the best ball players in Major League Baseball, and I think that Fletcher's got a lot of that in him too. Fletcher might have that tag his whole career of being a little too small, but it doesn't matter with him. His arm plays, his bat plays, his legs play. He's going to get into a program, and he's going to be. They're going to have a nice thought process on what his plan to get to the big leagues, and I think he's going to do really well.
I don't remember hearing the he's too small argument with Andrew Benintendi, and it didn't hurt him at all either.
Yeah.
This is such an interesting time of the year, Carson, for baseball talent, because of the draft and because you're in this position where, especially if you're a college player and you're playing this time of the year, you're playing in the games that you feel like your entire life have led towards, and you really want to focus on just that. But is it difficult to, you got to have in the back of your mind a little bit, they're thinking about, where am I playing in a month? Who am I going to be playing with? Where do I slot in? Are you able to, compartmentalize these things, or are these thoughts always there when it's draft time?
Yeah, I think that I think that the regional would have been the time that they've been kind of worried about it. But now that it's over, it's a relief. It's a weight off your back, and you can just go out and play. That it gives you confidence. So I think that Isaiah and Dom, and I think Cronin got picked up today as well. I think they're all going to have added confidence to their game this weekend and the following week if we get out. So I think it's a great thing that it happened, and I'm glad that it's over for them. They don't have to worry about it.
I feel that there's a brand name that goes along with Arkansas, or just like the way you expect something of how an Arkansas Razorback plays the game. Once they leave college and head to the professional ranks, I feel like you already know what it's like to prepare like a professional player. You already know what it's like to handle yourself like a professional player. And it's because of the expectations that Dave Van Horn has for the way the game is supposed to be played. And I feel that might be a little bit different from some other college teams. What do you think?
I think that you hit it right on. I think that Coach Van Horn runs his program like a professional team, and that's why he has so much success. And the more recruits know that, the better off they'll be. I came into pro ball last year, and I felt like I was kind of ahead of the curve of kind of knowing my surroundings and things like that compared to my teammates that were on my team. So I think for sure he gets you ready, and that's what's important when you think about the pro ball type process. Is you want to have someone that gets you ready, and Coach Van Horn does that. I spent 5 years in technically a pro ball team, so.
So, and that's one of the things I feel is a difference in this super regional. Now, I mean, for me, I separate Ole Miss with their talent and that they do play the game in a hard-nosed manner, and I can appreciate that and everything they have on the field. But some of the antics that they pull, the home run celebration, some of the routines they pull, some of the actions that they do.
Carson, Phil hates the preppiness. They ooze preppiness, and he just absolutely hates it.
It's not just them; it's other programs too that you don't see any of this stuff from Arkansas. And to me, there's a culture clash between Arkansas and Ole Miss that I think plays itself out this weekend too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I'm not gonna come on here and badmouth anybody, but. The cultures are different, definitely different, and it's known, and that's just how the older players before them have treated their process and their time at their college, and that's where the culture comes from. And I think that what you've seen is from us specifically is this, we wanted to leave the place better than we had found it, and I think that whole concept is carried on to this team. I think they want to leave it better than they found it as well. And the culture is blue collar as you could possibly have. So, I love what we have going on in Arkansas right now. And as far as from my concern, from a player standpoint, they can do whatever they want. At the end of the day, it's all about who puts up more runs and who scores more runs. So, hopefully that's the good guys at the end of the day.
Speaking with Carson Shaddy here on Halftime. Carson, it's weird to think that like the LSU was Phil called it a gorilla on Arkansas baseball's back for quite some time. You guys were able to get the win this year. But for some reason, the Arkansas baseball program hasn't had a lot of success since Ole Miss in the past few seasons. I know they've had some talented baseball teams and talented players. But why do you think that you guys have kind of struggled against particularly Ole Miss these last few years?
Man, I don't have an answer for you. I would just say that they're just another SEC team. Maybe you caught them at the wrong weekend. Maybe they're hot, and we came off a really bad weekend before or something. I don't know. I don't really remember the weekends before and whatnot, but I don't think it's anything like we're afraid of them or anything. I think that as far as talent and culture and history, we're very level-headed with each other, and it's a great even matchup. At the end of the day, Ole Miss is a great school, great baseball school, but so is Arkansas, and the guys need to know that, and just try to let the culture that we've built play on through this super regional, and I think they'll be okay.
So with the games this weekend, Ole Miss coming back in town, they've already been to Baum once this season. What are you looking for specifically for some of the older guys to do in order to get this team on to Omaha?
Man, I think that, a lot of passion has to be showed. That last year the Super Regional was the most passionate series that we had, and it was from top to bottom, the people in the dugout that weren't playing, people that were playing. Emotion goes a long way, and especially if we have a good inning, if you can build on that, it goes a long way. I think about the first inning of Game 3 in the Super Regional last year when we had put up 5, and the whole place was going crazy. I mean, it was just bonkers, and I think that helped a lot, kind of solidify the rest of the game. So I think that one for sure, if you get ahead, you better step on their neck and put an end to it. And I think that's really important. And then just the leadership qualities. You look at Isaiah, you look at Trevor, you look at Dom, all the older guys that are going to probably leave after this year. I think they just need to realize that this is their last time at Baum Stadium, and they better make the most of it.
Carson, I think the main thing Arkansas has got going for them right now, and I still think the lineup takes care of itself, but this pitching staff, the way they stepped up, in the regional, and I think we even saw it over the course of the last 7 games of the regular season where they still lost 5 of them. Arkansas pitching has been pretty steady right now, starters all the way through the bullpen, and I think that's the thing more than anything that can get them back to Omaha.
Yeah, I agree. I think that at the beginning of the year we weren't thought of as an offensive team, and maybe more of on the pitching side. I think you're seeing a lot of moxie from the older guys, and you're seeing a lot of confidence, and, they're getting in their groove early, and they know what they need to do to have success, and that's really happening. So I think that you're exactly right, and we're starting to mesh on the mound. Everybody's doing their job. It's just been a good thing so far.
So I mean, where are you going to be watching these games? This is going. I mean, it's different for you than I think than almost anybody that would be listening here, unless they were on last year's team, because you're still not fully separated out, probably emotionally, from being on that field in a game like that, and we're all going to be nervous and biting our fingernails. I can only imagine what it'll be like for you.
Yeah, it'll be. It's going to be a different type feel. I mean, I got a little bit of it last week with the regional. I think I was about as nervous as I possibly could be. And, these are all my teammates and considered as my best friends. And, you worry for them, and you hope that they have the best outing that they could possibly have. And, as far as just watching the game, I'll be about probably 100 feet to the left of you. We have a box we've had a box, a family box, for the past 15 years. So maybe you can lean out the window and say hi to me.
Okay, I'll do that. And my last thing, we'll leave with this. Does it matter? 11 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night, doesn't matter at all to the players?
Man, that's tough. I think you would love to see. The Hogs play at night, and I think that was. I think we had one of those games, or maybe 2. But you know what? They need to realize and not take for granted what they have in front of them. It's a very honorable thing that they're getting to host the Super Regional at Baum Stadium, and regardless of the time, they need to not take it for granted and get after it.
All right, Carson. Rather than stick my head out of the booth and say hi, I might just come find you if you're going to be that close. So I'll see you this weekend.
That works too.
You got it. All right. Thanks so much for your time, Carson. Have a great day.
You too. See ya.
That is Carson Shaddy, former Arkansas everything. I mean, he played every position except for pitcher and catcher.
Did he play catcher with? Yeah, I was going to say that he played catcher.
Yeah, I think the only position he didn't play was pitcher or first base. I don't think he played first base.
Do it all, man. Do it all, guy.
That is. All right, we got a cherry on the top of halftime next. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
What's your name? What's your sign?
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Tell me this, do you kiss on the first date?
It's Southern Tire Mart Free Brake Inspection Tuesday.
For almost 70 years, Crabtree RV